Whoop. Crosstalk. All right. Good morning. It is Lynn Marie, and we are live on Facebook. I'm a Qigong teacher, and every single morning, 15, 20 minutes, maybe longer, we do a warm up, and it's really beneficial. I can tell you it helps our nervous system first and foremost. So today, I am again live on YouTube, and I am going to talk about a issue that is one of the strangest human experiences that we have. Have you ever woke up at 3 a.m. for no reason? Maybe staring at your ceiling and wondering whether are you suddenly on the night duty for the state of this universe? Right? And then you can't get back to sleep. Now, it just happened to my daughter. She was worried about her garbage. She woke up at 2:30, couldn't get back to sleep. So some of you know exactly what I mean. You wake up, the room's quiet, there's no emergency, and yet your body feels like it just clocked into a shift that you didn't sign up for. Maybe your heart's beating faster than you want to fall asleep. Maybe your breath is more shallow. And maybe your mind just jumps 5 years into the past or 10 years into the future, and nothing actually is happening in this room. Today, I want to show you why that happens, not just psychologically, but biologically, energetically, and emotionally. And then you're going to be doing a Qigong sequence with me that helps bring our body back down so you can actually sleep through the night. And a tip of if you hang out with me at the end, I'm going to give you a tip of what to do when that happens, right? So settle in. We're going to talk just a little bit, and then we'll do a Qigong move. So your nervous system, right? Let's start there. Your body isn't malfunctioning at 3 a.m., honestly. It's obeying very old survival software that we have within us. Most people think that sleep is like powering off. It's actually not. Sleep is surveillance. It's a night shift of our body. Our nervous system is doing a threat audit, if you will. It's checking, are we safe? Are we alone? Is our body fed? Are we injured? Do we have pain? And then our body says, do we need to wake up and fix that? That's ancestral. And it's not our modern brain, it's our cave brain, actually. And the software, if you will, that runs this hasn't been updated, just because we're sleeping in a nice mattress and not on a hard rock, right? Sleep happens in cycles. You guys know REM sleep, right? You go first, fall into this deep sleep, and then a light sleep, and then rapid eye movement, and then you repeat. Now, if you go to bed about 11, between 2 and 4, we move into these more vigilant stages of these cycles. In nature, that's called the predator hour. And so our nervous system doesn't fully go offline. It stays just lightly on call, right? So what though happens is um, our cortisol wants to rebound during this time. It's our hormones, our um, natural system. And here's something most people have never really been told. Cortisol naturally rises about 2 or 3 a.m. Not because you're stressed, but because cortisol is your wake up hormone. It mobilizes energy, it raises our glucose, it signals the brain that morning's coming, right? But if our system's under stress, emotional, metabolic, or psychological, that gentle rise isn't gentle. It becomes this huge spike. And that spike then is your heart beating fast. That shallow breath I was talking about. You're more alert. You're scanning your environment. Kind of a vague of something's wrong sensation, and you're not really there. So what's happening is it's your liver and blood sugar are kind of layering in this metabolic piece, if you will. While you sleep, you're not eating, right? But your liver does you a favor and it releases that stored sugar, that glycogen, and that feeds our brain through the night. That's what happens. But if you're depleted, if you're underfed, if your body's really inflamed, not even really inflamed, histamines released, we have it all over. Or we're running on adrenaline, that glycogen release that I talked about can overshoot. And then insulin then comes on board to try to correct it. Our glucose dips, and then the brain says, absolutely not. We're not dying of low blood sugar in our sleep. And then it hits the cortisol button to wake you up. Bam. You wake up fast, like the body's ready to fight something that isn't there. So once you're awake, the survival brain starts looking for the reason why it got woke up. And many times it's our stressed, sad body, our standard American diet body that woke me up, full of all those things that end up hurting our metabolism. And then our body asks, what happened? And where's the threat? Goes back to that caveman, right? And when it can't find the tiger in the room, it goes hunting in time instead. So it pulls files from your future or your past. And that's when the 3 a.m. monologue starts. What if I never get better? Should I leave my job? What if that conversation was a mistake? Why does my kid seem so distant? Is this perimenopause coming? Should I be saving more money? I mean, come on. That's the pathology. That's the survival brain looking for things. You know, 3 a.m. shows up most often during seasons of stress. It's our body telling us slowly that there's burnout. Maybe you have some grief, you're caregiving too much, you're in trauma recovery, you're going through divorce, perimenopause, you're having financial pressure. Maybe you have chronic inflammation, or you're suppressing your whole emotional system. Or maybe you're going through a spiritual awakening. That can happen too. In all these seasons, our nervous system doesn't feel like it can clock out. It stays sentinel. Let that land for you. Your brain needs to clock out. So now let's bring this into traditional Chinese medicine. In Chinese medicine, you have this 24-hour body cycle. I'm going to post that on my channel. I actually do have a video down below that is all about the 24-hour cycle. And each organ system has a specific window. Between 1 and 3 is the liver. Between 3 and 5 is your lungs. So when you wake up at 3, you're waking in liver time. So it's nice to know when you wake up what time you're waking up in. So the liver in traditional Chinese medicine stores our blood. It regulates our qi flow. It manages boundaries, anger. It can influence our hormones because it works in cognizant with our thyroid, with those hormone releases like that cortisol. And it houses our hun. That's a Chinese medicine term, but basically it's our dreams, our visions, our spirits, right? We want them to be down. We don't want them stuck in our head at night while we're doing this rest and digest. And the liver governs our planning and foresight. So when we wake up, at that time, we're trying to plan things, look in the future. That's why people process decisions often, that are processing decisions, often wake up then, because their body feels they need to process some decision. So when liver qi stagnates or overheats, heat rises to your heart, and then it disturbs your shen, like I was telling you about, and the spirit then needs to rest in your heart. So what ends up happening is your chest heats up, your ribs get tight, you get irritable, you might have really vivid dreams, heart palpitations. You might wake up angry, right? And then you have a sudden urge to solve every little problem at 3 a.m. In women, the liver is deeply tied to our menstrual cycles and our menopause transitions. So, perimenopause night waking is often a liver story. So, this Han I was talking about is supposed to return to the liver at night. If it cannot settle, it wakes you up. And so, this is why at 3 a.m., it can kind of feel a little bit spiritual. The veil is very thin, and our subconscious is much louder at that time. All right. Well, I told you a lot of theory today. We're going to do some Qigong. Why don't you guys get in a place? I have my little studio here. I work out in every single morning. I have students right now watching me practice. They come in my Zoom room, and I actually have a free class tonight if you want to join. Similar to this, we're maybe going into a little longer, maybe less talk, more Qigong. But I want you to know these layers and what can happen with your body and how much easier it is to fix. I've been trying to fix this nighttime regime for probably the last 10 years now. 10 years ago, I woke up 5 times a night. I never even considered any of the things I told you about today. I just went to the bathroom, tried to get back to sleep, toss and turn like a fish. Now, I don't wake up maybe once. Last night, I didn't wake up at all. The night before that, I woke up at 5 a.m. But that's just my body, my cortisol, and it gently woke me up. That's what's supposed to happen. It took me a hell of a long time to get here, everyone. All right, so let's put our feet shoulder width together. So in Qigong, it's very gentle, mind body exercise. It gets our body into our mind, it gets our consciousness in the moment. That's where you need to be. There's nowhere else but here, right? When you wake up in the middle of the night and try to be in the past or future, are you there? No. You're in that quiet room. What one thing I've done is I have a real cold bedroom. Maybe pile in the blankies to feel warm, but have cold air breathing in your lungs at night. That helps your body settle down, knowing that it's time to rest and digest. So we're getting into Wu Qi. So what that is, there's this checklist I have, but what I'd like you to do is feels like your knees are slightly bent, tongue on the roof of your mouth, chin tucked back and in. You're just basically sitting on this little bar stool, if you will. And this area here called your qua, it's your pelvis area, but it's way more than that. I just spent a 3-hour class this last weekend with my teacher, and we just went into the very deep, deep levels of the qua. So let's get into there. Let's feel this qua. We're going to do some belly breathing. Put your hands together and get into that nice breathing that you know your body can do in the moment, right? So belly, ribs, chest, and then chest, ribs, belly. As you sink down, you're sinking on that bar stool. Your feet are planted on the ground. Your feet are actually, as you're coming down, your feet are actually going more forward than back. Now breathe in, and your feet are going to go a little bit further back, right? So you're in this tiny, just, I'm not saying you're rocking your feet back and forth. I'm actually giving you a little bit of extra tip here because one of my students is on that. I'd like her to know this. So as you breathe in, your feet are resting center on your body, right? As you breathe in, you can feel this center axis, this center line, and your feet are just so in the middle of your foot. And then as you exhale and you drop back down, your body goes to the front of your foot, just gently, not fully, 30% on the front, maybe. And then sit here for a moment, then breathe in. And then your foot tends to go to the back and then it raises to the center. As you're doing this lovely breathing, it's not a rocking motion at all. I want you to first put your mind there as you're breathing. Put your mind in that motion of your foot. because your foot's not doing a whole lot. It's connecting to heaven and earth, which we're going to do in just a moment. But I want you to feel the sensation. This is the beginning of what we call Wu Qi, where we connect to heaven and earth. So put your hands down. Now, as you put your hands down, because they're not on your belly, you're going to feel a little different shift of your posture. And this is an entire posture exercise because what we want for stability and longevity is stable posture. So my foundations class, I teach all posture. That's all we do because when your body is in total posture alignment, you then can go into deeper exercises knowing you're not going to hurt yourself, that you are going to move your chi properly, and that your breath and body are in the position to do it. All right. So let's shake a bit. I normally jump into this in the middle of our exercise, but we're just going to shake our wrists. We're just going to loosen up here. I want you to, as you bounce, just gently bounce your knees. So we're feeling this energy, this moving in from the top of our head. We call it Ba Wei, where your font was when you were born, right? And just gently breathe into it. I want you to set your shoulders. So as you lift up your shoulders, just gently drop them down. And as you bounce, they set into place. You can just feel them in the correct location. I want you to have a little bit of armpit open, tongue on the roof of the mouth, chin back and in, and just bounce. Just feel this light bouncing. And connect that breath that we were talking about. See where your breath is right now. Maybe you can get your breath a little. I'm moving my hand up and down. I don't want you to do that. I tend to do that, and then I notice my students doing that. So you don't need to do that. But keep bouncing. But what ends up happening is you might notice your breath a little bit more, your tongue's on the roof of the mouth, and your body's more engaged. It's here in the moment now when you're bouncing. And so you may notice your breath a little bit more. Let's try there. Sit there for a minute. I'll not talk. Let's just bounce. Let your wrists be soft, elbows soft, shoulders soft. Your breath is softening all your body. With each breath, you just feel a little bit more softer, like you're coming back into your body. All right, let's stop. Feel that sensation. Now, does your jaw feel a little looser? Your tongue more relaxed? Let's put a little smile on our face. I call it the Kuan Yin smile because it's not a big toothy smile. No, it's a nice, take a breath in, tongue in the roof of the mouth, exhale through your nose, and just this I love you kind of smile to yourself. And you get this lovely smile. It guides you, it follows you. It's a perspective that I'd like you to take. All right, so we're going to knock on our door of life. So we're going to knock from our hips and waist. So we're in that Wu Qi position still, that knees bent, but we're going to take our hands and knock across, and we're going to hit our one hip and our other hip on this side. We're just going to kind of move back and forth. I'm just showing you how it works. And then we're going to twist, basically, from our center axis. We're going to twist our hips and our waist. And as you see, as I'm twisting, my knees aren't caving in. I don't want caved in knees all over, right? I want you to keep your knees straight ahead. We're twisting from our hips and our waist. And then as you do that, just notice as you're twisting from your hips and waist, your hands just, I want you to not do anything with your hands yet. I just want you to twist from your hands, hips and waist. And what happens? Your hands just follow, don't they? So Let your hands follow, give it a little bit more twist, and then it's going to hit this Ming Men point, right? And then it's going to hit this Ren 6 point on our front. And those are really good areas for clearing tension and tightness. This is one of the exercises we do every single workout, every single class. This is one of the exercises the Yellow Emperor paid a Buddha at the time. He wanted a quick 15-minute exercise that I can just do, that I move all my chi, because they knew what moving chi was back then, that I can move all my chi, that I can get all the exercise I need in one fell swoop. And this was it. It's called Knock on the Door of Life because we're hitting our Ming Men. That is our door of life. That's the area of our body that wakes up, that stores our energy. When our Ming Men slows down, when we have no energy there, we're close to death. Or we're in a sickness or illness. So we want to keep this energy alive every day. Just a few minutes of doing this, and this is something you can go and teach everyone. It's such an easy exercise. Go teach someone this today. Spread it around the globe. I actually, um, this is one I learned from my teacher, and then I did the same thing. I said, this is so cool. And then tell them the history about it, right? All right, so let's slow it down. So let your arms just flop now around. And now we're going to drop into what's called waterways. So same movement from your hips and waist, but it's like you're standing in this pool of nice clear water. We're washing away any impurities from our kidneys. We just woke them up. Now we're washing away those impurities. Water is our kidney energy, and it's also this time of year in traditional Chinese medicine that we want to stimulate our kidneys because they tend to be colder. We want them nice and warm. And that's not just the only reason why we stimulate our kidneys during this time, right? So just drop into the moment. Feel your hands just gliding through the air. You're here in the moment, only you. You can close your eyes. Let your body know you're with it right now. You both are feeling these lovely sensations, and you're guiding it to health and longevity. I know I'm talking about the body in a second or third person, but it actually is. It's tendons, joints, ligaments that listen to the cells that listen to you. So it's really, we're all one, but we have a hierarchy of listening. I like that. All right, let's slow it down. Slow it down. All right, this next one is called spinal cord breathing. This one helps our body to move the spinal cord fluid. I call it proprioception. It's a big, long word, but it takes the craniosacral fluid, that spinal fluid, right? And it pumps it. It just gets it going. So I want your hands up, chin tucked back and in, and then we're going to tuck our head back and into our body. So just a nice little tuck in here, tuck in, and then come back out. And then we're going to look up, hands out to the side. Set those shoulders right here, not down here, not up here, just very gently down here. Chin back. And then we're going to do it again. And then we're going to pick up the speed. And then inhale here. Oh, I didn't turn my phone off. I apologize. Inhale and then exhale. Inhale and then exhale. I should just set a little timer on my phone to be shut off during this time. I don't know why I don't do that. Most people know not to disturb me during this time that I teach. Feel that, tuck that chin back and in right here. And then the next one, we're going to look up. All right, feel that look up. Now tuck your chin back and in. Let's look up. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze here. Let's hold it here for a second or two and then breathe in. Look up. Now hold it here. Hold tight, tight, tight for a second and then exhale. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Breathe in. Hold it for a bit. This dynamic tension we're creating after we warmed it up a bit really helps this pump that I was talking about to activate, to utilize all that sacral fluid you have. Don't let it get stuck in little nooks and crannies and bulging discs, right? I've had that problem. Don't let it happen. All right, one more time. But I can tell you right now, Qigong really helps that issue if you do have a bulging disc. So, one of the things that we can do for a lot of the sleep issues that we have, our head gets into certain places that we don't need it to be. And we can process that and move it away because we don't need it any longer. Maybe, I mean, when you wake up at 3 a.m., do you need to process that issue? Maybe there is something that you need to maybe give a little attention to, but just let it be. Say, okay, I'm going to do that in the morning. Now, I know I'm talking more, but I heard a really good tip, and this is where I told you to stick around for the tip. So, the tip to help you, if you do have some issues that are gnawing on you that you can't resolve or that you maybe need to resolve in the morning, perhaps you have a to-do list that you didn't get done that day, right? A lot of people have that. The thing to do is not to look at the things you checked off. Oh, I got those done. The thing to do is rewrite the things that you didn't do, write them down, and now they're on the paper. You know they're there waiting for you in the morning. Your brain knows that it's there waiting for you in the morning. Chances are, or you may not wake up thinking about them because you categorize them. You set them aside and you now know when to get that functioning, when to do that. You set it aside. So there's the tip. Try that. Try to write some things, or maybe not a to-do list, even just those things that are frustrating you that you can't solve while you're sleeping. Write them down and let it be. And now here's another little tip, an exercise you can do at night. If you wake up, go to sleep, wake up again, and you're just like, I am not shedding this idea, this thought, you do this one. So we put our hands here. This is dragon stretches its feather. So we're going to have one hand is away from our body and one hand is looking at our body, right? This hand is pushed away and this hand is looking at our face, right? And so what we're going to do is we're going to pull that in. So we're going to grab that, pull it in, pull this in a little bit. This hand isn't going to do a whole lot except move back and forth. Maybe it'll move a tiny bit. This hand's going to do all the movement. All right? So, nice soft shoulders. I don't want your shoulders up here. We're trying to clear out this energy that's stuck in our head, right? Those thoughts that we can't control right now. So, dragons do this. They wake up, they stretch their feathers, they roll it around, and they go back to sleep. So anyway, so how we do this. So breathe in, like I showed you, breathe in. And then you're going to turn your head. This hand's going to look away and this hand's going to push away and you're going to look over that other shoulder. Breathe in and breathe out. So you're grabbing those things you can't solve and you're pushing them away to solve it another time in the future. Yay. Bring it in and then stretch that feather. Here are your feet shoulder width apart. Breathe in and then breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more time. And just pretend let's hold it here. You're that dragon Stretching those feathers, take those fingers, stretch those fingers out as far as you can. That moves the energy out, disperses it. Because right now there's nothing you can do. Okay, bring your hands back down to center. Let's go to the other side. We always do everything we do on one side, we do on the other, right? So look at those hands, stretch those hands away, turn that head, bring it in, breathe in, and then breathe out. Exhale, turn that head, look over that shoulder as far as you can. This is an exercise anyone can do. It's a good one to do actually in the airport before you have to get on a plane, because we get a lot of tightness and tension in our head and neck because we're already stressed out. But also, this is a good one to do when you wake up at night and you can't get that stuck energy out of your head. And the sunshine is really coming into my set right now. One more time. And now let's hold it. Hold that. Look over that shoulder. Feel that stretch. I don't want a tight elbow here, just soft elbow, but feel that stretch in your fingers. And breathe here just a little, few breaths. All right. Bring it back down to center. All right. Now another one. This one is really going to get us in the flow. So feet shoulder width apart. And we're going to take up our hands, tuck your chin back and in. And now we're just going to release all that energy back down to Mother Earth where she can compost it. That's what she does. And then we get the greatness that comes back. So ready? So what we're going to do is we're going to drop and straighten. Drop and straighten. Now, when you drop, I don't want knees here. So drop and straighten, drop and straighten. So one hand is going to go in your back and one hand is going forward. And so this again is a nice twisting exercise that gets that cranial sacral fluid moving up and down our spine. That helps our nervous system to relax. So it keeps it nice and silky fluid like it should be. It doesn't need to be thick. Now, you may, in this exercise, feel some popping, clicking. You may get burping. That is release of chi, release of stagnation, honestly. It isn't a release of chi. It's a release of things that no longer serve you. Burping is air you don't no longer need, but it's been held in your body somehow. Burping is a big release. When I went through my first big phase of healing, I burped to the point where I ended up in the ER and they couldn't figure out why I'm burping. Well, yeah, I was releasing stagnation. I now know. I didn't know it then. All right, let's slow it down. Let your hands just flop in front of you. All right. So this next one is we're going to pull down the heavens in 6 directions. So first, let's pull down the heavens. Grab your hands and pull them down. Nice and slow, just a couple times. Just cleansing and clearing. Whenever you move a lot of energy, like we just did now, we are trying to compost energy. We then want to clear it and push it back down further, right? All right, we did that 3 times. The next one I want to do is another cleansing and clearing. It's called pull down the heavens from 6 directions. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull down the heaven, and then we're going to raise up here, and then come to the center, and then pull down. Breathe in. And now let's turn our body. Lift your hands up, and then pull down. Breathe in, twist, hands up, and then pull that down. We're moving all that hun energy, that unspent energy that we no longer need. Turn the other way, hands up, and we're pulling it back down from our emotional body into our spiritual body, into our physical body where it belongs. It can be processed here. Breathe in, twist, hands up, breathe in here, nice stretch, and then exhale. Breathe in, twist, lift your hands up, and then pull down. One more time. All right. Let's put our hands over our belly, feet a little closer together. This is called bamboo in the wind. So we take the webbing of our thumb, put our thumbs together, interlock your hands. Doesn't matter which way. I know they say men this way, women that way. It really doesn't matter. Um, yeah. Anyway, there's some teachers that think that matters, but that's how I teach. I've spent the money on every single Qigong teacher out there on the internet that I could find. And I've taken their class, I paid for it, and I've taken the ones that I think are most beneficial to your health and to my health. I first did it for my health. And I've put it together to what I have now at Chi Flow Academy. So this exercise, Bamboo in the Wind, we're just gently unwinding, just like a piece of bamboo does, right? Bamboo has very deep roots. The roots of a bamboo plant, when you first plant it, for the first year, you wonder, where is that tree that I planted? But after a year is when the actual tree grows from the earth. The year before that, it was growing roots deep into the ground, nearly 12 feet, to hold up this bamboo plant so it can rock and sway. Right, so I'd like you to just rock and sway. So start at your ankles, just unwind, tongue on the roof of the mouth, soft body here, connecting and flowing. Just let your breath be your guide here. Now, where is your breath? Since we started, we talked about where our breath was in our body. Where is your breath right now? I have way more breath video exercises on how you can get that shallow breath to drop down. So follow me, like and follow. I'm so glad I could be with you here today. And I actually even taught one of my students a lesson. So thank you for joining me. At the end of each class, we shut it down with our ears. And oh, they must think my class is over. So what we do, this is your gallbladder meridian right along your back here. And then this is telling our body, we're done with that exercise. We're going to slow things down now. Tug, tug, tug. I do a lot of acupressure, things that you can use for your massage help that can help you to get back to sleep, right? And here's another one. If you stuck around to the very last end, it's called PC6 tapping. And this one is called pericardium 6. It's inside our forearm, 3 fingers down from our wrist crease, right here. Pericardium 6. This settles our heart energy. This is really good. Like there's a company called C-Bands that has so it's 3 fingers down. So you take your 3 fingers from your wrist crease and the bone in between those 2 little bones, those 2 little tendons, and push, push, push. circle, circle, circle. This settles heart shen energy and it soothes anxiety. It also, you may get a little burst of saliva that just came in your mouth if you do this. It helps calm our stomach. They're now giving it in hospitals for people who are nauseous because it works. You don't have to give nausea pills. If you're nauseous, use this. This also helps if you wake up in the middle of the night because it's anxiety that probably woke you up and your heart energy that wants to come back down. Typically, that's it. So rub this and try to go back to sleep. Thanks for joining me. I had a great class, and I will be back next Tuesday again if you want to join me for a free class. We do this every